Dana Braja Jana Ranjana Amunatira Vanachari Amunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवृतगचार्य स्तोत्र सत्य श्री श्रीमद श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की श्री प्रभुपाद फाउंडर आचार्य विभूति इस्कॉन की Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 12, text 15 and 16, because 15 does not have a purport. But we will start with 15. Tam uchur brahmanastusta rajanam prasrayan vitam Eshai asmin prajatanto Purunam Paravarshaba Tam Uchur Brahmanastusta Rajanam Prasrayan Vitam Eshai asmin prajatanto Purunam Paravarshaba Tamuchur Brahmanastusta Rajanam Prasrayan Vitam Eshai asmin prajatanto Purunam Paravarshaba. Word by word translation and translation of the verse. Tam, unto him, Uchu, addressed, Brahmana, the learned Brahmanas, Tusta, very much satisfied, Rajanam, unto the king, Prasraya Anvitam, very much obliging, Esha, this, he, certainly, asmin, in the chain of prajatanto, descending line, purunam, of the Purus, Paurava Rishabha, the chief among the Purus. Translation: the learned Brahmanas, who were very satisfied with the charities of the king, addressed him as the chief amongst the Purus, and informed him that his son was certainly in the line of descent from the Purus. Text 16. Daivena pratighatena sukle samstam upeyushi rato vo nuhra artaya visnuna prabhavisnuna. Translation and purport. The Brahmanas said, this spotless son has been restored by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, in order to oblige you. He was saved when he was doomed to be destroyed by an irresistible supernatural weapon. Please repeat. The Brahmanas said, this spotless son has been restored by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, in order to oblige you. So the Brahmanas are speaking to King Yudhisthira. The Lord fell obliged to King Yudhisthira to save Parīkṣit. He was saved when he was doomed to be destroyed by an irresistible supernatural weapon. Purport. The child Parīkṣit was saved by the all-powerful and all-pervasive Vishnu, Lord Krishna, for two reasons. The first reason is that the child in the womb of his mother was spotless due to his being a pure devotee of the Lord. The second reason is that the child was the only surviving male descendant of Puru, the pious forefather of the virtuous King Yudhisthira. The Lord wants to continue the line of pious kings to rule over the earth as his representatives for the actual progress of a peaceful and prosperous life. After the battle of Kurukshetra, even up to the next generation of Mahārāja Yudhisthira was annihilated, and there were none who could generate another son in the great royal family. Mahārāja Parīkṣit the son of Abhimanyu, was the only surviving heir apparent in the family. And by the irresistible, supernatural Brahmastra weapon of Asvatam, he was forced to be annihilated. Lord Krishna is described herein as Vishnu. And this is also significant. Lord Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, does the work of protection and annihilation in his capacity of Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. The all-pervasive activities of the Lord are executed by him in his Vishnu feature. Child Parīkṣit is described here as spotlessly white because he is an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. Such unalloyed devotees of the Lord appear on the earth just to execute the mission of the Lord. The Lord desires the conditioned souls hovering in the material creation to be reclaimed, to go back home, back to Godhead. And thus, he helps them by preparing the transcendental literature like the Vedas, by sending missionaries of saints and sages, and by deputing his representative, the spiritual master. Such transcendental literatures, missionaries, and representatives of the Lord are spotlessly white, because the contamination of the material qualities cannot even touch them. They are always protected by the Lord when they are threatened with annihilation. Such foolish threats are made by the gross materialists. The Brahmastra, which was thrown by Asvatam at the child Parīkṣit, was certainly supernaturally powerful, and nothing of the material world could resist its force of penetration. But the all-powerful Lord, who is present everywhere, within and without, could counteract it by his all-powerful potency, just to save a bona fide servant of the Lord and descendant of another devotee, Mahārāja Yudhisthira, who was always obliged by the Lord by his causeless mercy. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-samudaya Chakshurun militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnudaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschyatyati Satarine. So here we are in the pastime of the birth of Emperor Parīkṣit, who is the son of Abhimanyu and Uttara. And we have the whole story of the battle of Kurukshetra, who is at the origin of this situation with the future king Parīkṣit, with Parīkṣit in the womb. And due to the fact that all peace formulas which they tried, which Lord Krishna tried, which the Pandavas tried, which Vidura tried, all these trials of peace, some or other, they did not work with Dhritarashtra and his son, especially with Duryodhana. And then Duryodhana, he was assisted by the wicked Shakuni and others, and they tried to kill the Pandavas on a number of occasions. And of course we can immediately sense that when those who are close to the Lord, who are pure devotees, when they are harassed, when they are attacked, it's okay. Then when they are harassed or attacked, then the Lord doesn't sit still, is not quiet, and the Lord gets involved. So also some heavy things happened, besides that the killing or the desire to kill the Pandavas. There was also this situation with Draupadi, who was Dushashan, on the request of Duryodhana, was trying to disrobe her, which is another huge mistake, and that was in the public court of the kingdom. So that's how degraded the situation became, with Duryodhana at the steering wheel. And then that was, on top of that, that was combined with the fact that the Pandavas and Lord Krishna, they tried to settle even for one province, or later even for 5 villages. But ultimately Duryodhana was not willing to give land in which one can put the size of a pin. So all trials were tried and nothing worked. So then there was no other solution than to fight. And Lord Krishna then spoke Bhagavad-gītā to Arjuna, because Arjuna was somewhat doubtful if he should get into killing family members, killing teachers, etc. It was quite a duality for Arjuna. But Lord Krishna made it very clear throughout the Bhagavad-gītā, which is then a wonderful scripture, the heart of the Vedic scriptures, Bhagavad-gītā, which is spoken by the Lord himself and which is commented by the Lord's pure devotee. So this is a wonderful scripture from which Srila Prabhupada says that Bhagavad-gītā is enough to bring you back to Godhead. Of course, we should read all Srila Prabhupada's books because so many instructions are there. But the Bhagavad-gītā is the crown jewel of the Vedic scriptures and gives us tremendous instructions. And in this way also Arjuna became convinced that he had the opportunity to be part of success by serving Krishna, because the battle was already predicted and was going to happen anyway, with Arjuna or without Arjuna. So Arjuna surrendered and wanted very much to be part of that mission of Lord Krishna. And in this way he was very successful. And
So that war lasted 18 days, and millions of soldiers of both parties were killed. In fact, at the end of the war, on both sides together, only like 12 personalities remained. And one of these, of course, we had the Pandavas, who were protected by Lord Krishna. And then another personality was Ashvatam, because Ashvatam, he was on the side of Duryodhana, and so then we had during the battle on the 13th day, the father of Parīkṣit was killed, Abhimanyu. Abhimanyu was very, very young. Actually, he was only 16 years old, but he was a great warrior. In fact, he was the son of the moon god. And when the moon god was approached, if his son could take part on the earth in some pastimes with Lord Krishna, then the moon god was quite attached to his son, and he told them he can come, but only for 16 years. So then Abhimanyu then took birth as the son of Arjuna and Subhadra, the sister of Krishna. And at the time he was in his mother's womb, he heard his father Arjuna explaining how if when an army is set up in the form of chakra vyuha, this is one of the positions which gives strength to the fighters, then Arjuna explained while Abhimanyu was in the womb how to enter a chakra vyuha. But while he was explaining, and before he could explain how to get out of the chakra vyuha, then Lord Krishna entered into his place, and the topic changed. So Abhimanyu never knew how to get out of a chakra vyuha. And in this way, on the 13th day of the battle, some or other by Krishna's arrangement, usually his father was always on his side, but by Krishna's arrangement on that particular day, Abhimanyu was by himself and surrounded by the other warriors, and the opposing party had put up a chakra vyuha, and then Abhimanyu was able to enter there, and he was fighting like a lion. But because he didn't know how to get out there, then he was mercilessly killed. So that then on the last day of the battle of Kurukshetra, then when most of the opponents were killed, then Duryodhana was hiding, but then the Pandavas found him in his hiding place, and then Bhima challenged him to fight with him, and then Krishna gave a hint that he should hit Duryodhana on the thigh, because Duryodhana was very powerful, because he was trained by Lord Balaram, and Bhima was also very powerful. So this fight would go on and on because they were equals. But then Krishna pointed out the weak spot of Duryodhana, and in this way Bhima smashed his thigh, which then as a result he was having a slow death, So on that same 18th and last day of the battlefield, then Asvatam came to Arjuna, to Duryodhana, and promised him to kill the Pandavas, because he was seen that Duryodhana was in agony, and he wanted to give him some relief, some pleasure, and he made that promise. So that very night of the 18th, last day of the battle, then Asvatam went to where the Pandavas normally sleep. But since it was the last day, and Duryodhana was on the verge of, was basically killed, it was just a question of time that he was going to leave his body. So then the Pandavas that night, they slept as the winners, they slept in the Kauravas' quarters. And the sons slept where the Pandavas were sleeping. So then Abhimanyu, after killing Drishtadyumna first, because Drishtadyumna had killed his father. So after killing Drishtadyumna first, then he entered into the sleeping place, and he saw 5 people covered, and it was night. So he killed all 5. And he thought he had killed the Pandavas by doing so. Now, later when he realized that the Pandavas were alive, then he went, Asvatam went to the hiding place where Srila Vyasadev's quarters. So he went to that hiding place, and but of course the Pandavas found him there, and then in order to defend himself, he released that last powerful weapon he had, this Brahmastra. And Arjuna also had last Brahmastra weapon, and he did the same. But then Srila Vyasadeva said that if these 2 Brahmastra weapons are going to collide with each other, that's going to be the destruction of the world. So then Arjuna immediately withdrew his Brahmastra weapon, and Asvatam didn't know how to withdraw it. So he directed it, because he wanted to kill the generation of the Pandavas. He was not able to kill the Pandavas, so then he directed it towards the son of Abhimanyu, who would be the future heir for the for the Kuru dynasty. So then as we know, then Lord Krishna did interfere on the request of Uttara. Lord Krishna interfered, as it is explained here. Lord Krishna interfered in his Vishnu form, and he undid the power of the Brahmastra of Asvatam. And then Asvatam, he was then without power left, and then he was captivated by the Pandavas, and his power was also in the jewel on his head, which was cut out, and he was heavily punished by Lord Krishna, because he would have to wander into the material world until the end of Kali Yuga. So that was his punishment.
So
So Mahabharata is very, interesting and dynamic stories from which we can learn a lot of lessons, and we can also learn how Lord Krishna is always on the side of his pure devotee. Now, Krishna, he was there as Krishna, and at the same time, it's explained here. Srila Prabhupada explains that you see exactly. Lord Krishna is described herein as Vishnu, and this is also significant. Lord Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, does the work of protection and annihilation in his capacity of Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. So Krishna, he likes to perform his pastimes as Krishna with in Gokula or in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, as child Krishna herding the cows with the gopis and the gopas, and he wants to have his nice, sweet pastimes. At the same time, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he has to look after everything. Spiritual worlds, material world, all the creation of the different planets, the karma of every individual. So all this is done by his expansions. So even as we see here, and also we see that in the pastimes of Krishna, even in Vrindavan, sometimes when it comes down to killing of a demon, then he lets his expansion, Lord Vishnu, kill the demon. Because Lord Krishna, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the origin of everything, contrary to what in Hinduism many people still think today, that Krishna is an incarnation from Vishnu, and that Vishnu is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, but by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we get the understanding as it is, meaning that Krishna is the original Personality of Godhead, and he likes to perform his pastimes with his friends and his family in a so-called undisturbed way, in a very pleasant way. And whenever there is some work to be done, either in the creation or even in particular pastimes like this pastime, Krishna was there, but at the same time, his expansion, Lord Vishnu, interfered to counteract the Brahmastra of Ashvatam. And that's how Lord Krishna works, because Krishna's first expansion is Lord Balaram. And then from Lord Balaram expands the quadruple expansion, which is then Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Vasudeva, and Pradyumna. And then again from Sankarshan expands then Lord Narayan. And then from Lord Narayan expands the second quadruple expansion. And then from the second quadruple expansion, from Sankarshan, then expands Mahavishnu, who lies in the causal ocean, and from him all the planets appear. And then he expands in Garbhodakasaya Vishnu. And then Garbhodakasaya Vishnu in each universe enters into each universe, and then he expands in Kshirodakasaya Vishnu. So these are wonderful manifestations and for the whole material creation, or for any aspect of the creation. Lord Krishna, he has it all worked out. So he is the best. He is the best manager. He is not lazy. He is very active, but at the same time, he is not working so that sweat comes on his forehead and or that he has a headache because he has too much to do. He may have a headache for a pastime, to play out a pastime, but not because he has a hard time managing the creation. Because Lord Krishna has it all together, and he has worked it out in a wonderful way, how to manage his creation. Another point that Srila Prabhupada explains here in the purport is that Parīkṣit, the newborn baby, he is described here as spotlessly white, because he is an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. So the Lord has his pure devotees, and the pure devotees, they are always playing important roles. Just like the brahmanas are the head in society. And amongst the brahmanas, amongst many brahmanas, there may be a few or one pure devotee. And these pure devotees, they have a strong, deep relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is protecting them. And why is he doing that? Why did Krishna want Parīkṣit to be the following heir in the line of the dynasty? Because the dynasty was a pure line of sadhus and personalities, kshatriyas, who were respecting, who were living their life dharmic, according to dharma. And why is the Lord so concerned that the king follows in a dharmic line? It's because the Lord is concerned for the living entities in this planet. That is his concern. Because those we all who take birth in this material world is because we have some or other one day, whatever happened exactly, we may not know, we don't need to know. We have turned our back towards Krishna. And as a result, we undergo suffering in this material world. This material world is a place of suffering. We all have experienced some of it, some of us more, some of us less, but everybody who is awake has to admit that this is not a place for a gentleman. This is not a place, this is not a nice place. This is a place where you go out as soon as possible. Some may realize that, some may not realize that. Just like pigs are attached to eating stool. So the pig will desire to continue to eat stool. Is eating stool nice? No, it isn't. So, same in the material world. Many people think that this material world is fine, and they want to make the best out of this material world in a material way, unfortunately. We also, as devotees, want to make the best out of this material world, but for our spiritual advancement. That's the difference. So, but the Lord is concerned. The Lord is concerned about all living entities who are wandering in this material world. And that's why He wants us to have a good king, to have a saintly king. Because a saintly king is, first of all, he is a personal example. Like Yudhishthira was a pure devotee, he was a personal example of for all the people. And as we know, we always look up to what are the leaders doing. If the leaders are not doing them, we say, why I have to do? They are not doing. Why should I do? That's a natural tendency of the conditioned soul. So the Lord is always trying to put good people in on this earth or in the material world who are exemplary and, if possible, a pious king. So how does the Lord do that? The Lord, in a few ways, the Lord, He prepares transcendental literature like the Vedas, like Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gītā. This is an important book, and then he is also leaving so many different Vedas, which all have instructions how to improve our life in this material world and how to prepare to go back to Godhead. Then the Lord is also sending missionaries and saints and sages. That's also the arrangement of the Lord, to send people who are more advanced and bring them to the earth and let them be the example. And the Lord is also deputing His representatives. Srila Prabhupada is explaining that in this purport. He is deputing His representatives as the spiritual master. So in other words, Srila Prabhupada doesn't say that because he is not going to speak about himself, but it's not by accident that Srila Prabhupada came to this material world. It is by Krishna's arrangement that Srila Prabhupada sends his pure devotee, who then takes up a world mission of spreading Krishna consciousness and distributing the holy name worldwide. So these are all things, and these things, they come out of the desire of Krishna to help us out of this conditioned situation which we have ourselves put in ourselves. It is due to ourselves that we are here. But Krishna is now reaching out. He wants us to do it by ourselves, and He wants us to love Him, but not by force. But in order to do that, He is reaching out. He is reaching out through the Vedas. He is reaching out through sending sadhus, saintly persons, and He is reaching out by appointing and inspiring devotees like Srila Prabhupada to save us from this material world. So the Lord is always thinking of us, how to help us out of this material world. This is a very beautiful quality of the Lord. And it is also very beautiful that He wants us to understand that, and He wants us to work towards that path, but He is helping us. Just like I think Ganga mentioned yesterday, also Ganga Prabhu, that when the Lord puts one step, when we put one step to the Lord puts 10 steps in our direction. So I will stop here. If there is any comments or questions. Is there a mic? You can speak like that. You want this mic?
Hare Krishna, Prajit. Thank you for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prajit, for the wonderful class. As you mentioned that Krishna always thinking to protect the, always thinking to help us out the conditioned souls. So, and he is sending his messengers and giving out the scriptures. So, and we relate this with that the desires which the plans which our plans which is not fulfilled by Krishna. So maybe Krishna is having better plan for us. So that's why some plans gets defeated. So when this place is not good, so why this desire
when this what?
But this place, material world, is not good, so the desire of enjoying the senses and going to material world, so why Krishna fulfilled that desire?
Krishna fulfills all desires. So even in the material world, if somebody is desiring to become rich and the person doesn't care for his spiritual life, he only cares for becoming rich, then Krishna will, if the person strongly desires it, then Krishna will also help him to fulfill that desire. So Krishna doesn't want to force us to love him. He wants that to be our own decision, with our own understanding as to why and what and how. He wants us to do that with realization, not superficially or not manipulated or not anything like that. He wants us to be pure in our desire, and of course our desire in the beginning may not be pure, even if with some intelligence we can understand that is properly the best way to move forward, then he will also fan that. Whatever stage we are, Krishna will always fan it, but he will never come to the point where he directly forces us to love him. Circumstances may force us, like karma. Karma is there to bring us back to our senses and to bring us back to times of reflection and to become more thoughtful and why this happened to me? You know, I this or I that. So many people are baffled by the working out of their karma. Many people have a hard time to accept that. But working out of karma is a natural thing. It's by the laws of nature it is done. And if we understand it or not, that's another thing. But whatever happens to us is what we deserve. But often, for thoughtful people, it's a wake-up call. It's a time by which they reflect and think, oh, so the material world is so harsh, and you know, and it helps us in coming back to the Lord and opening up ourselves for spiritual activities. It helps us because it's a sobering thing. The reaction of karma, some's good, some's bad, but the reaction of the karma, especially if bad things happen to us, is often a source of reflection that can lead us to surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because it's not a small task, because we come here with the idea to enjoy, which is totally against to our constitutional position. Our constitutional position is to be a servant of the Lord. That nobody can change. We can be an illusion that we can be the enjoyer, and that's what we are. When we come here, we are in the illusion that we can enjoy independently of the Lord. But that's a temporary situation, can never be permanent, because it's not based on reality. But we are allowed to live in this illusion for some time. But at some point, we will be baffled in that understanding. And it's a question of, once we know that we are eternal servants of the Lord, then it's a question of, by what time can I live to that? It may take time, because we have to, certain things we have to turn 180 degrees around. Certain things we want to enjoy. And Krishna and our constitutional position is to enjoy the senses of Krishna, not our own senses. So it's a 180 degrees change we have to make. Instead of serving myself, I have to serve the Lord. If I want to be happy, if I want to be in my eternal position, I have to make that change. We can do it slowly, we can do it quickly, we can do, so many varieties are there. We can do so much in this lifetime, so much in next, all these varieties are there. But by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, by having this knowledge, we can do it in one lifetime. That's what Srila Prabhupada is suggesting us, that we make that 180 degrees change from, instead of serving my senses, I will serve the Lord's senses. He wants us to make that in one lifetime. He says you can make it in one lifetime if we are serious about Krishna consciousness. But one day we have to take care of it. Otherwise we keep living in illusion, in Maya, which is not a pleasant situation for an intelligent person. Wouldn't want to keep living in Maya, wouldn't want to keep living in illusion. That's not an intelligent proposal.
So this wake-up call is wake-up call is beneficial for those.
I couldn't understand the first word.
This wake-up call for the sleeping souls.
Vega call? Wake-up call. Okay.
So for sleeping souls is beneficial for those who have who are repeatedly trying to enjoy the senses and are frustrated from their attempts, or some are like these pastimes of Krishna are attractive to them, that they can get peace in life, so then they can make a change of 180 degree, I think.
Yeah, yeah, wake up call or some mercy. I mean, if you get, you know, that's why we distribute prasadam, so that people can, that's another way to wake up a sleeping soul. Or that's why we do Harinam. That's another way, hearing the holy name, to wake up sleeping souls. So the way Krishna consciousness is quite merciful in the wake-up calls to the conditioned souls. But then there is still work to be done. It's not just, okay, now I understood something. Now I have to move on by knowledge, by practice, by being in the association of devotees, etc., etc. There's still work. It's all work in progress. But a wake-up call is very important. It means it's the beginning of your spiritual life, the beginning of your going back to Godhead. And then allowing that, fanning that, helping that, looking for the right association where everybody is moving in that direction, etc.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, my query is that as we do hearing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, so it's a Bhagavatam Sevaya. So as we do chanting, it's a Nam Sevaya. As we do the Seva in other, in Dham, to temple, does it also purify our consciousness, our heart or mind? Other Sevas also? And what mood we can do the Seva? Please explain.
What?
Mood. What mood? Which way we can do the Seva, so that it can be a purificatory process?
Yeah, service should be done to the Lord by all His devotees, because in that way, when you take up a particular service within a particular organization like ISKCON, ISKCON is a spiritual organization which Prabhupada has set up, so that as many as possible devotees can partake in the service. And in this, simply by serving as a bookkeeper, or simply by serving as washing the dishes or cooking for Radha Madhava, all this, so many forms of service, they automatically go to our credit and automatically have a purifying effect. But besides that, we are still requested to chant 16 rounds. And we are still requested to study Srila Prabhupada's books. Because these are the two tracks, like the train tracks, who help each other. The chanting inspires us to read. The reading inspires us to better chant. And, you know, these two tracks are very, very important. And then so many other aspects, association of devotees. But all this is within the format of ISKCON. It's all packed in there. And then how much advancement we make is going to then depend on if we really do it to please Krishna. Or am I doing it for my own pratishta? Because I want to be the best, seen as the best devotee. That doesn't impress Krishna. If I really do it to please Him, that impresses Him. So there are still so many anarthas we have to work out, even while we serve in the association of devotees, even while we are in the association of devotees. I think I will have to stop here because it's. I was asked to stop at 9, so it's 5:09. You want to something quick?
Thank you for the class, Prabhuji. So you mentioned that the liberated souls, the unalloyed devotees, they come from the spiritual sky to execute a mission of the Lord. So but we notice that when they come here on this planet, they go through so many difficult situations, they face death even. So the normal people, they think that they are taking birth again. They don't think that they are liberated. So how can we understand that they are liberated and they don't have karma, but they are executing these pastimes because of the Lord's mission, and we have to go through these purifying processes throughout our lifetime? How can we make others understand, or how can we even understand that?
By regularly studying Srila Prabhupada's books, by hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam classes, by serving, that's how realizations come. There is no other artificial process. It's real work. Real work means by chanting, reading, by seva. That's how realizations come and penetrate into our heart and change our heart. There is no quick solution or artificial solution or a one-time thing. No, we have to change our life from directed or the attention on me towards pleasing Krishna senses. And if that is our meditation, then everything else we keep doing what we are doing, we keep studying, we keep serving, but we make sure that it is done with the attention to please Him.
Thank you.
So Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam